welcome back to another video I have for you today. Today I'm going to be talking all about how to start Differin, and I'm going to give you the exact routine that I recommend and the exact products and everything, and then after that I am also going to be giving you guys just little extra tips and tricks and things you should know when you're starting it. So before we get started with the video, definitely check out my other videos that I have on my channel, and if you like them, definitely subscribe to my channel since I have been trying to upload more frequently, and I upload a lot of skincare things, but I'm pretty flexible with that as well. But anyways, if you like my channel, definitely subscribe to it and like this video if you found it helpful. Also, one thing I wanted to note before we get started again is that I have linked Differin down below in my description box. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the video. First thing you're going to want to use is a facial cleanser. And when you're starting this routine, I highly recommend the 𝐬𝐤𝐜𝐚𝐥 Calming Facial Cleanser. It's for dry skin and it's creamy, and that way it'll help to reduce and prevent irritation on your skin when you're starting Differin out, which I will go more in depth later on in this video. Really, any CeraVe or La Roche-Posay or Cetaphil calming cleansers, the cleansers you don't want to use are for oily skin because those will dry out the skin. So find something that is creamy that will be calming for the skin, and the one that I recommend is the CeraVe Normal to Dry Cream Cleanser, which I will link down below. After that, I would recommend a moisturizer, and there are so many moisturizers you could do when you're on Differin, but a good one to start out with, I just like the CeraVe line. You want to get something very moisturizing and from a very good brand. So CeraVe is awesome, Cetaphil is good, La Roche-Posay, those are like my top 3 favorites. I know Neutrogena has a few, but for CeraVe specifically, they have, it's like a purple one, it's the Renewal Cream. They also have like the Daily Moisturizer, or they also have the PM one, and it comes in like a little bottle and you just squirt it out, and I have literally used that one for like as long as I can remember. When I first started using moisturizers and my dermatologist recommended me that one, I have used that one since, and it is my favorite by far, and I will also link those all down below. Another product that you're going to definitely want to use is a sunscreen. Honestly, you at least want a 30 SPF sunscreen. Again, CeraVe, Cetaphil, and La Roche-Posay, they all have really good sunscreens. I know La Roche-Posay, they can get a little more pricey, but I honestly like all of their sunscreens. I know also the Supergoop, I think they sell that at Sephora. That one is also amazing, but one that is just like a good price and it's just reliable. It's nothing too fancy, and I've used it again for like as long as I can remember, and I always go back to it. It's the CeraVe AM Moisturizer that has 30 SPF, and the 30 SPF AM Moisturizer pairs with the PM one, so I would always get those two, and they are nothing fancy. They have the most simple ingredients, and they're super light but moisturizing for the skin. So now going into how do you even start using Differin, when do you use all these different products? Well, the first thing is you're gonna wake up in the morning, right? And depending on the person, for me and for a lot of people, you don't know how irritating Differin is until it's too late and it's a few weeks in and you're breaking out like crazy and it's hard to control. So you want to start with the most calming thing as possible. So for me, and I know a lot of people, they prefer to wash their face twice a day, and you really don't have to wash your face twice a day, even if you have super oily skin and your skin is like breaking out like crazy. when I see that, I see irritation, and you just don't need, unless you're working out in the middle of the night and you need to wash your face, then sure. But honestly, I would recommend to not wash your face in the morning. I never wash my face in the morning. If you want, you can like splash some water on it instead, but it's only gonna dry out your skin even more and just cause more irritation, and it's just not necessary. So in the morning, what I would do is get your moisturizer, whichever one I suggested. For me, I use the CeraVe, you know, AM 30 SPF moisturizer, or I'll use the daily moisturizing cream, and I'll put that on my skin. And I also go on my neck, and I use a little more than a pea-sized amount. Moisturizers you can go a little more ham with. You don't have to kind of, you know, only use a pea-sized amount. Like I'll use a decent amount. And then after that, after I let it sit in for like a minute or two, I will go in with my SPF. And again, you can go ham with the SPF. And again, put it on your neck, because I learned this lesson in high school. I would only put sunscreen on my face, and then by the summer I had two different, like it was very clear. I had two different colors right here, and it looked just terrible. So if you want to help that, apply sunscreen to the face and the neck. Okay, so then that is all I do in the morning. If you want, you can use makeup, but I really suggest not using makeup while you're starting this, because it's only going to irritate your skin even more. The evening comes, and depending on how much sunscreen or whichever sunscreen you use, you might need to do a double cleanse to get all of it off. First, I will go in and I'll lightly go over my skin. And the first time I do that, that's because it's taking off the sunscreen and the top layers. I'm just like lightly going over it. And I do that right away when I get in the shower. That's the first thing I do all the time, is I take off the sunscreen and all that. Especially if you get a water resistant sunscreen, you really need to take that off at night. And I'll do that at the beginning of the shower, and then I'll do my whole thing in the shower, you know, wash the hair, wash the bod. And then when I'm reaching the end of the shower, I clean my hands with soap and make sure that the water isn't piping hot either, because if it is piping hot, then it's gonna burn your skin, and when it's really hot like that, it irritates it even more. So like room temperature, lukewarm water is best. So then I will go in, after I clean my hands, I will actually clean my skin now. So I might take a little bit more of the same cleanser I used and put that on my skin, and I'll wash my face, not too harshly. One thing to note, if you have open breakouts, like you are just full of pimples, clean your skin as lightly as possible. I know it's hard, and I feel like this is like drilled into our minds when we're younger, that we should exfoliate our skin a ton, but honestly, when your skin is broken out like that, do not exfoliate, because it's just gonna make it a whole lot worse. You want to be as gentle as possible, and sometimes if it's like really bad, I will literally be barely touching my face. Like, look how lightly I do it, like literally like this. Like, that's how I do it. I get out of the shower, and there's a couple ways you can go with this, and depending on the irritation, again, it's hard to tell starting out, but just to play it safe, when you get out of the shower, don't dry your face. Your face is still a little wet, it's still a little damp. Get your moisturizer out, and like the ones I recommended a few minutes ago, like the CeraVe PM one, or the daily moisturizer again, or a Cetaphil one, or a La Roche-Posay one. Anything that is just going to be hydrating and is not for oily skin. Something for drier skin is honestly going to be better. And on your wet skin, with clean fingers, apply a good sized amount of moisturizer. And then your face is going to be looking super glowy. It's still going to be a little wet, and it's going to take some time for your face to dry. And I'll go into more depth about why we apply it to damp skin in a few minutes. But yeah, so apply it to the wet skin and then keep it there, don't touch it, and let it sink in until your face is like dry, okay? You don't want it to be too like wet or anything, because that'll that'll just like mess up the whole Differin application and everything. So after like 10 minutes or so, then grab your Differin, take a pea-sized amount, and apply that to your face. Just go boop, 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 and then gently rub it in. And then you're gonna let that sit in for a few minutes. And then after like 10 more minutes, after the Differin has legit sit into the skin, then grab your moisturizer again and put even more moisturizer on. So that is the entire routine. Now I'm gonna get right into the tips and little tricks and things you should know when you're starting Differin and when you're starting. So I just gave you your whole routine, right? So only implement the Differin once a week for the first 3 weeks. By easing it into the routine, it'll be a lot less irritating and give your skin more time to be like, oh, who's this? Oh, I know who this is. Like, okay, we're gonna prepare better. Rather than just going ham and doing it every single day, and then your skin is like, what the heck is this? Like, I have no idea, like, what? And yeah, so I would suggest implementing Differin into that routine that I just said once a week for the first 3 weeks. And on days that you're not using Differin, still do the same routine I just mentioned, just, you know, take out the Differin. And I'm also going to put the whole routine down below in the description box along with all of the links to those products that I mentioned. So yeah, and then after the first 3 weeks, and I literally suggest this to everyone, even if you have like amazing skin right now, just start, it doesn't hurt, just start once a week for 3 weeks, okay? And after 3 weeks, you can do twice a week for 3 weeks. And then after that, go into 3 times a week for 3 weeks. And for some people like me, I don't need to use Differin every single day. As long as you're getting to like every other day or every third day, your skin will still be benefiting from it. Honestly, by applying it every day, won't be that much different, except it just might cause more irritation than if you were to apply it every other day or every third day. Yeah, so like it won't be less efficient or anything. And honestly, this is like the way that I recommend for every person. I know it's like, oh, but I want to see results, I'm gonna start using it every day or every other day to start out. It's like, okay, but then it's gonna take longer for you to get your results because your skin is like, what the heck is this? You have to give your skin time to know what this thing is. So yeah, that is what I recommend, and that is like one of my most biggest tips to you guys, is to start slow. Also, if you are needing to get a wax done or any type of procedure like that, stop using your retinoid like Differin at least a week beforehand, because otherwise, and I've done this so many times, I've gotten a wax done and there's like just like a big scab here or here wherever I get it done because I'm on a retinoid, and it thins your skin and it makes it much more vulnerable. So yeah, that is really important because you don't want to go to school with a huge scab on your mustache like me. Next, I will go into why do we apply the moisturizer when our skin is still wet. And that is because it prevents water loss from the skin, which I've gone into a bunch in my previous videos. But basically, your skin is gonna dry out on Differin. It's gonna get irritated, and moisturizer is like your best friend ever. And when you apply it to the skin that still has water in it, it's going to help keep the water in it. So it'll help keep you moisturized and less irritated, because dryness leads to irritation. So yeah, that is why we do that. And now, why do we apply moisturizer again after we've applied Differin? That's just like an extra little moisture barrier. People get really dry and irritated skin on Differin, but some people don't at the same time. Like my boyfriend, he's been on Differin for I think like 8 months at this point, and he's never really had too much of an issue at all with dry skin. My next thing that I will say is, again, don't use piping hot water because that's just gonna dry your skin out even more, make it more irritated, and not be good. And the last thing I will mention about all of this is that it will not work. You will not see a difference in a week. You won't see a difference in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's gonna take at least a month to see even the littlest thing, or to even see the irritation come in. And again, you don't want to be reactive, you want to be proactive in making sure that you're not irritating your skin. So it doesn't hurt to use all of the steps and tricks that I mentioned earlier in like my routine and everything that I suggest. It won't hurt you. It'll only benefit you by using a super calming routine and non-irritating, because by the time you'll start to see differences in your skin, it'll be too late if you're getting really irritated. But yeah, for me, I honestly didn't notice a difference until at least 2 months after, and my purge was insane, and I documented it on my YouTube channel here, and it was so painful and so discouraging, and I know how it feels. I've struggled with acne my entire life, and I just had a lot of hope in Differin, and I've been there, and here are my tips and tricks, because I think that if you, like, I've been there and done that, and this stuff will work if you follow it, and I wish I would have known all of this before I started. So yeah, that is all for this video. I have a couple other video ideas that I'm planning that I will upload soon, but if this video was helpful, literally the smallest bit, to any one of you out there, definitely just let me know, because I want to know if I'm helping you guys out. But that is all for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.